One beautiful day in the Minecraft world, Spidie, a small, cute, but full of energy character, decided to start a new life. After a long journey through hills and forests, Spidie found the perfect place to build his little wooden house. It was a flat land beside a stream, where sunlight gleamed every morning, creating a magical glow. Spidie immediately started building. Armed with a pickaxe and an axe, Spidie chopped trees and mined stones. He worked all day, and with every tree felled, he would smile and say, "This is the best job ever! These trees will help me build a nice roof over my head." After several days of hard work, Spidie finally completed his wooden house. It wasn't huge, but it was charming. Small wooden walls, a roof made of oak planks, and small windows letting in the sunlight. Outside, he planted a small garden with water crops right beneath his house. Each day, Spidie watered the plants and took care of his little garden, hoping for a bountiful harvest soon. But even with his lovely home and garden, Spidie felt lonely. He longed for a friend to talk to and share his joy in the new world. One morning, as he went outside to harvest his crops, he spotted a small white dog standing a little further away, looking curiously at him. "Hello there! Who are you?" Spidie smiled and walked closer to the dog. The dog looked up, its big round eyes sparkling, and its ears perked up. Spidie could tell it was friendly, and it seemed to be waiting for him. The little dog had a snowy white coat that looked as soft as clouds. It was adorable and the perfect companion for Spidie's new life. Without hesitation, Spidie said, "Would you like to be my friend? I have a nice house, and I don't want to live here alone anymore." The little dog wagged its tail and ran toward Spidie. From that moment, they became best friends. Spidie decided to name the dog Snow because of its white coat. "Hello, Snow! From now on, we'll be friends!" Spidie grinned. From that day on, life for Spidie and Snow became full of joy. Every morning, they worked together in the garden, harvesting crops. Snow loved running around the garden, chasing butterflies fluttering in the air. Meanwhile, Spidie collected water crops and watered the plants. One day, as Spidie chopped down a tree to gather wood, he noticed something funny. Every time Spidie cut down a tree, Snow would run over and start jumping around Spidie's feet like it was cheering him on. Spidie laughed and said, "All right, Snow, let's build you a lovely doghouse." Snow was also great at helping Spidie when he needed to find things. One day, Spidie needed stone to craft new tools. He looked around but couldn't find any. Snow, however, led him to a nearby spot, near the stream where large stones lay. Spidie smiled and said, "Thanks, Snow. You really are my best friend." Life for Spidie and Snow continued joyfully. Every evening, after working in the garden or chopping wood, Spidie would sit by the fire and Snow would curl up beside him. They would eat simple meals like water crops from the garden, or sometimes meat from animals they had hunted together. One evening, as they gazed up at the sky, Spidie whispered, "Thank you, Snow, for being with me. Life is so much better with you by my side." Snow, with its bright eyes, looked up at the stars, then back at Spidie, wagging its tail happily. The dog laid down next to the wooden house, falling asleep under the soft moonlight. Days passed by, and Spidie realized that even though Minecraft was filled with challenges, everything seemed easier and more fun with a true friend like Snow by his side. Together, they continued their journey, building their little world full of laughter, friendship, and memories that would last forever. As the sun rose over Spidey's little wooden house, he stretched his arms and yawned. The birds outside were chirping, and the morning breeze gently rustled the leaves of the trees surrounding his home. Snow, the little white dog, was already awake, wagging his tail excitedly. Spidey smiled at his loyal friend. "Good morning, Snow," Spidey said, ruffling the dog's soft fur. Today was going to be another exciting day. Spidey had spent the past few days settling into his new home, and now he was ready for his next big adventure. After breakfast, which consisted of freshly baked bread from the wheat Spidey had harvested from his little field, he decided to go explore the nearby forest. Snow, as always, was ready to go with him. The dog barked happily, and Spidey laughed, tying up his boots. "Let's go, Snow! Who knows what we'll find today?" Together, they walked down the dirt path, and Spidey couldn't help but feel grateful for everything he had. He had a home, a loyal dog, and a beautiful piece of land where he could grow food and live peacefully. But there was something more he wanted to do. He wanted to make the world a better place for everyone. As they ventured deeper into the forest, they came across a small pond, shimmering in the sunlight. Spidey noticed something strange. A little rabbit was stuck on a small ledge, its paws trembling in fear. Spidey quickly ran over to help. "Don't worry, little rabbit, I've got you," he called out. Snow barked excitedly, as if cheering Spidey on. Spidey gently reached out and lifted the frightened rabbit, carefully placing it on the soft grass. The rabbit hopped away, looking back at Spidey with a grateful little twitch of its nose. "See, Snow? That's what it's all about, helping others when they're in need," Spidey said, smiling. Snow wagged his tail and barked happily, as if he understood the lesson perfectly. Spidey felt proud of what he had done. It wasn't much, but every small act of kindness counted. On their way back to the house, Spidey couldn't help but think about how lucky he was to have Snow by his side. Life in Minecraft had its challenges, but with a good friend, anything was possible. He decided that from now on, he would make it his mission to help anyone who needed it, no matter how small or big the task. When they got home, Spidey decided to spend the rest of the afternoon planting some more wheat in his field. He knew that with time, his little farm would grow, and he could share the fruits of his labor with his friends in the village. As the evening approached and the sky turned shades of pink and orange, Spidey sat on the porch of his house, Snow curled up next to him. He looked up at the stars and felt a sense of peace wash over him. "Today was a good day, Snow," Spidey said softly. Snow gave a small yawn and snuggled closer to his friend. Spidey smiled, thinking of all the adventures to come. Spidie had lived in her cozy wooden house for several weeks now. The little house, with its warm wooden beams and windows that opened to the wide, beautiful world outside, was her sanctuary. Snow, her new fluffy white dog, was her constant companion. Together, they spent days collecting resources, exploring their surroundings, and enjoying the simplicity of Minecraft life. But one day, as the sun rose and painted the sky with hues of orange and pink, Spidie felt a sense of curiosity that she couldn't ignore. "I wonder what lies beneath the ground," Spidie thought aloud, gazing at the green plains outside her window. Snow barked happily in response, wagging his tail as if agreeing with his owner's thoughts. The idea of exploring a cave had been on Spidie's mind for a while, and that morning she decided that it was time for an adventure. She grabbed her trusty pickaxe, made sure she had some torches, and packed some food. After all, she knew a journey like this might take a while. Snow followed eagerly, his white fur gleaming in the sunlight as he trotted beside Spidie. "Let's go, Snow," Spidie said, her voice full of excitement. "Today we're going on an adventure." The two friends walked to the edge of their property, where a small hill sloped down to a forest. After navigating through the trees, they discovered a narrow opening in the ground, a cave entrance hidden by vines and rocks. Spidie's heart raced. She could hear the soft dripping of water echoing from deep inside. "This must be it," Spidie said, her voice a little quieter now. "Are you ready, Snow?" Snow barked, wagging his tail, and that was all the encouragement Spidie needed. With one last deep breath, she and Snow stepped into the darkness of the cave. The air was cool and damp, and the walls of the cave shimmered with the faint glow of minerals. As they ventured deeper, Spidie placed torches along the way to light their path. The cave seemed to stretch on forever, twisting and turning like a maze. The sound of dripping water echoed louder as they descended further into the earth. "It's so quiet here," Spidie said, breaking the silence. "It's kind of eerie, but also peaceful." Snow trotted ahead, sniffing the ground as if he were on a treasure hunt. His white fur blended with the shadows, making him almost invisible in the dim light. Spidie couldn't help but laugh at the way he playfully jumped over rocks and darted into narrow crevices, his tail wagging like a flag. After walking for a while, Spidie and Snow came to a large open space. The walls of the cave were covered in glowing blue and green minerals, casting a magical glow all around. In the center of the cavern was a small pool of water, shimmering in the light. As Spidie walked closer, she noticed something even more exciting. There were precious ores scattered around the floor. "Look, Snow!" Spidie exclaimed. "We've found gold and diamonds!" Snow barked happily and wagged his tail as Spidie carefully mined the ores with her pickaxe. She was careful not to mine too fast, knowing that she needed to take her time and gather as much as possible. The gold would be useful for crafting tools, and the diamonds, well, the diamonds were a treasure Spidie had only dreamed of. "Perfect," Spidie said, smiling as she added the gold and diamonds to her inventory. "This is going to help us a lot back at home." But their adventure was far from over. As they explored deeper into the cave, they encountered more obstacles. In one narrow tunnel, Spidie spotted a group of hostile mobs, a few zombies and skeletons blocking the way. "Oh no," Spidie muttered. "We'll have to fight our way through." With a steady hand, she gripped her sword and stepped forward. Snow barked fiercely, as if preparing to defend his owner. The zombies groaned and staggered toward them, and the skeletons aimed their bows with deadly precision. Spidie and Snow fought bravely, dodging arrows and swinging their weapons with skill. Snow helped too, growling at the mobs and even managing to bite a few of the zombies. Together, they made quick work of the enemies, and before long, the cave was quiet again. "Whew," Spidie said, catching her breath. "That was close, but we did it." Snow trotted back to her side, his fur slightly ruffled, but still wagging his tail proudly. Spidie patted him on the head and smiled. "You're a brave little dog, Snow," she said, laughing. "We make a great team." As they continued their journey, The cave seemed to open up even more, revealing new chambers filled with more ores and rare gems. It was like they were walking through the heart of Minecraft itself, discovering all the secrets hidden beneath the surface. Eventually, Spidie and Snow reached the deepest part of the cave. In front of them stood a massive stone door, covered in moss and intricate carvings. It looked ancient, and Spidie could feel a sense of awe as she gazed at it. "This must be the treasure room," Spidie whispered. "It's incredible!" But there was a problem. How would they open the door? There didn't seem to be any visible mechanism or lever to activate it. Spidie examined the door carefully. The carvings were strange symbols, almost like a puzzle. After thinking for a while, Spidie realized what the solution was. She placed the diamonds they had collected earlier into the spots indicated by the symbols. The door began to rumble, and the massive stone slabs slowly slid open, revealing a treasure room beyond. Gold, emeralds, and rare gems filled the room, glittering in the dim light. "We did it, Snow!" Spidie shouted, her voice full of excitement. Snow barked happily and wagged his tail furiously. Spidie couldn't believe her eyes. She had found the hidden treasure of the cave, and it was all thanks to our teamwork. They took as much as they could carry, carefully packing the treasure into their bags. With a final look at the treasure room, Spidie turned to Snow. "Let's head back home, Snow. We've had enough adventure for today." With their bags full and their hearts light, Spidie and Snow made their way back to the surface. As they emerged from the cave, the sunlight greeted them, and the fresh air felt like a reward for all their hard work. Spidie looked down at Snow and smiled. "We did it, buddy. We discovered the hidden treasure together. And now, it's time to go home." As they walked back to their cozy house, Spidie realized that it wasn't the treasure that mattered most. It was the journey they had shared and the bond they had built along the way. Together, Spidie and Snow had conquered the cave, and nothing could stop them from facing whatever adventure came next.